What is up, blockchain gang? I've been trying to make a debate video for the past year about the benefits of blockchain tech in gaming because I believe it will make excellent content, and not a single one of these cowards will step up to the plate and take the bait. There are at least a dozen prominent YouTubers with anywhere from 1,000 to millions of subscribers that shit on random blockchain announcements and scam projects every chance they get, as if they are a representation of the entire industry. They also seem to believe that they have the power to speak for all gamers and devs should listen to them.
Dear AAA Gaming, no one wants NFTs, alright? As simple as that. God!
It is generally agreed upon in the gaming landscape that NFTs are nothing more than scams and schemes and another monetization avenue that corporations intend to take advantage of.
That's the exact same vibe I get from NFTs because like they're even pointing it out, it seems like so many people have reservations, so many people are saying this is not what we want, but they're forging ahead anyway.
Maybe they don't realize that developers measure success in player base and player spending, not rants from YouTube and Twitter. I guess that's just the most popular content they can come up with these days. I watch and still like the videos because I respect the hard work it took to produce it, even if I ultimately disagree with almost every point they make, and comment to challenge them to a live, unedited debate on any blockchain gaming related topic of their choice. Only a few have declined my offer, but most ghost me because they know I will utterly embarrass them for their lack of knowledge on a subject they felt so strongly qualified to represent accurately to their trusting audiences. So I'm extending this invitation to all of their fanboys as well. Anytime, any place, take all of the time you need to prepare because I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Of course, I anticipate to hear nothing back but crickets chirping to emphasize the lack of competent response they're capable of forming without serving of copy pasta from the people they follow on Twitter. So I'm just going to destroy their arguments without even giving them a chance at a rebuttal, since they are too chicken shit to appear here today themselves. And I am tired of waiting while they continue their fictitious content regurgitating assault on blockchain gaming. The biggest argument I hear is that it isn't possible to take an NFT from one game to another.
Now, I've talked to a lot of people who have basically blown up the idea to me like, but Muda, what if I could use these skins between games? I own the NFT of that skin. Now let's go to Rainbow Six Siege, a game that I play, and there are some skins that I love. Now, in terms of game design and game programming, you can take one skin file from one game and just easily throw it into something like CSGO or Call of Duty Vanguard. Game engines are built differently, okay? You can't just take one model file and just easily throw it into another game. There's got to be reprogramming. There's got to be an entire open component between these game publishers that allow the exchange of actual game skins.
All this time acquiring an NFT for something, and it'll translate across multiple games, or multiple different pieces of media, which there are already game developers out there completely debunking that, just going like, well, they're completely different code sets, different game engines, etc., across, even two games of the same franchise sometimes, and there's very little way that would work.
This is pure ignorance in game development, and I know it isn't anybody's job but game creators to know how this works, so I don't fault them for not knowing. I fault them, however, for claiming to know about it and that it's impossible, which is wrong. Using simple API calls, any developer can look into any wallet address linked by the player to identify if they own a particular NFT and give them some sort of associated item or power-up in their own game. It can be a simple two-line function specific to that item or even an entire collection of items, or as complex as an entirely new in-game item that works to their specifics because they are the devs of their own game. Watch this guy, who claims to be an established dev, try to figure it out.
This thing that they want to do, just from the very basic level, is unworkable and undoable. And I'll explain why. I've been a game designer for decades, and I have created economies, and I have built worlds, and and I'm telling you from that experience, the idea that you can take an item, and you win the Helmet of Nor, and you say, I don't want to play World of Warcraft anymore. I'm going to take my Helmet of Nor into your game, and I'm going to use it in your game. Well, here's the problem. My game is a film noir thriller set in 1950s Los Angeles. What the fuck are you going to do with this helmet? It's unworkable. The whole thing is absolutely unworkable.
The next big point they make in their long-winded rant is that no developer would want to do this in their game. Here's why. Hint, it has to do with money.
and he's never given you a dime. And he starts raging through your game. Everyone who starts your game with nothing, they got to fight this dude or interact with this dude or compete with this dude who's got all this crap that they never paid you a dime for, right? Why would you want that? What is good about that? It's even worse than that. If it just stopped there, it would be bad enough, but it gets even worse because that person can now come into your game and start selling stuff. Start randomly selling whatever the hell he wants. And he can undercut you because when you're selling stuff from your studio, you're taking that money and paying artists and designers and programmers and studio music. I just hit my guitar. Studio musicians and all kinds of other people. All those people got to get paid. That's what you're doing with the money you earn from this. It's not physically possible. It's not doable, right? This whole thing is unworkable, right? Let's pretend it was.
Then please explain why Fortnite spends so much money licensing IP from other games to sell in their own game. Simply put, they know it will widen their audience and increase their net sales. The difference with the blockchain is that it would help them finance development through transaction fees of their assets on the open market, and it also widens the available audience for the players to trade with. Finally, this is a red herring anyway, in an attempt to distract us away from the fact that they could just sell the NFT from a game they no longer wish to play and buy whatever they want in the next game because of the open loop economy. That is the real benefit, and it is ridiculous to pretend that people have to rely on a developer to add specific code other than the blockchain in order for them to gain it. Hell, I earn money on Mir 4 and pump it into Roblox cards when my son does well in school. I call it play to bribe. Moving on, many will claim a database is the same thing as a blockchain and that a blockchain is not needed because a database does its job.
As already mentioned, a blockchain consists of two broad fundamental components, the ledger and the consensus mechanism. All currently popular blockchains use an append-only ledger. Now this is, on its own, not that remarkable. Append-only is just a database setting that only allows new entries to be added to the end of the current database. Once something is written to the database, it's read-only. Standard applications are typically things like activity logs, which is conceptually all a blockchain really is, a giant log of transactions.
Now, I want to start off by saying when I hear the word metaverse, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm one of the few people in the world that have woken up from the goddamn Matrix, where metaverses have always kind of existed. If you ever have been there for things like Second Life, for various things like Furcadia, for various social hubs where people gather through and make UGC content and push it out to everyone, metaverses have existed. This is a fad because how these companies, these AAA companies, are implementing this technology is in no way different than the stuff that already exists. How is it that selling a gun skin for $10 through in-game credit on Siege will be vastly different than owning the NFT of that? Because unless you can use that NFT between multiple games, all right, then maybe I can see the worth. Maybe if I like a gun skin in Siege a lot and I would like to see it replicated between other games, that would be cool.
In other words, databases need to be kept in private in order to be kept secure, because if a player can change the values of a database, they can exploit whatever they want from the game. Now, due to the immutable and transparent nature of the blockchain, this cannot be done, which allows sharing between games in a much easier fashion than what blockchain haters have pictured in their mind. Trading skins or any other version of illegal RMT is already here without the need of blockchain. And technically that is true, but when playing a blockchain game, you won't be banned and have all of your account's value stripped from you for participating in the free market when you're ultimately caught. This counters another big argument claiming that the blockchain ruins games and makes it only about earning and botting.
The fantasy amongst evangelists is that a tokenized economy where digital goods are mediated by NFTs would give them more power. Goods like digital games would have true ownership, encapsulated in the ability to be resold, but there is no reason to believe that this is how things would shake out. The far more probable result is that the tokens are used to lock products down even tighter.
Sure, you got the battle pass as a revenue stream, you've got a cash shop to buy skins and other bullshit, and now it's like, well, how do we sucker more money out of the people playing these dog shit games? Well, we'll introduce NFTs.
It's an ecosystem that absolutely demolishes consumer protections.
You have to basically make an initial commitment of money. That's the scam, right? That's a pretty dystopian scam.
The intellectual consistency here is that they are claiming that companies are only incorporating the blockchain to make more money, while also arguing the devs would get less money, while also claiming that these blockchain projects have failed. So which is it? They act like they are standing up for the consumer rights when they are actually fighting against them. They go on to criticize how inhibitive these games are due to high cost and how it's exploiting gamers, but then criticize the free methods of earning as further exploiting gamers.
So yeah, that's one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. The project that Ubisoft decided to jump on, you know, the big NFT wave, has actually done jack shit for them in terms of making the money.
If players can sell their in-game stuff, then it changes the way that they play the game. It changes the way that they optimize their playtime. Since the vast majority of games are openly a non-investment, a straight exchange of money for entertainment, also known as a purchase, players tend to optimize their playtime for intangible returns like fun, distraction, socialization, relaxation, challenge, achievement, and narrative fulfillment, with absolutely no expectation that the money and time they put in should return anything other than those things. The key shift here, and the meaningless buzz phrase that you'll encounter online, is the proposition that the results of playing a game should retain value, which is code for having a potentially speculative price.
Because there's a real money cash out at the end, it's critical that that grind not be fun. And so when you earn one of these critters, it has a value to you. Now, the way that we generate that value is through a synthetic scarcity that we have created. And to make a new, I think they're called axes, to make one of these critters, you have to go earn smooth love potions, and you build up a bunch of those, and when you have enough of those, you can generate a new critter, a new NFT, and now that critter is something that you can take to the blockchain and sell because it has value. And the value is created through you having to grind to get that thing. But if you go to Indonesia or the Philippines and tell somebody who is really struggling to make $500 a month that that is a possible option, for them that looks pretty good. But here's the problem. That person doesn't have the $100, $200, whatever it is to make their initial stake, not to mention the computer and the internet and all the stuff that you have to make there's a pretty serious initial investment here, right? And so what they've done, and this is so dystopian, I can't believe it even exists, they've created scholarships.
The massive issue is if they will eventually be used one day to lease to players who may not be able to afford $100 gun skins, $1,000 gun skins, is that really a market that we want to be contributing to?
Now listen to him describe what he does and how it's so different.
NFTs are a pure scam. Blockchain gaming is a pyramid scheme. And play to earn is not only a scam, it's deeply immoral. The scam is games include scarcity. This is not new. This is something games have always had, right? If you play through any game, the reason it's fun is because you don't immediately get everything. You have to work to get things. We don't see that scarcity as something that stands between me and the thing that I want. It's something that is fun in itself. And we know that because if we remove the scarcity, the game becomes much, much less fun. That scarcity is the fun.
I know CSGO has had its fair share of bots long before skin trading, but the main reason games like it and RuneScape are even still around is because of the illegal RMT trading going on, proving the point that the blockchain will make any game more successful if implemented correctly, especially when players are not punished for using it. The fact that players are buying things regardless if it's illegal or not is proof that the only reliable design solution is to allow them to trade legitimately and give players no reason to support botting.
I've never come across one argument from a crypto bro that somehow I could agree with when it comes to gaming and utilizing NFTs within them.
Of just letting them have the spotlight on a platform, let's also get on that platform and have this discussion. Let's actually have this back and forth where we're also present and making our case against NFTs as NFT companies continue to try to push for the normalization of what is very much a giant Ponzi scheme.
Now, there is one guy out there who I was wrong about. John. While he shits all over crypto games using the Joshua Strife Hayes formula of worst MMO ever, he is almost always negative about the games, while Josh is genuinely trying to figure out why the game is bad, and give them credit for the things they do well. John is reluctant to give praise, while exaggerating the poor quality state of many games that are early access in the first place. He is also one of those dirty exploiters who likes to cheat and hack games for their own amusement, which is just a dick move in my book. I mean, how many years did you have to live through without being hugged to want to ruin a game that otherwise people would be enjoying, and then take satisfaction from said behavior? I feel like he has the evil, bizarro version of myself. I think he and I should collaborate and do a show together like Hannity and Combs, where he is trying to rip all of the play-to-earn games down, and I'm trying to point out their best qualities while we play together. That's all I have for today, and I'll let our senior developing engineer have the last word. Thank you for watching. Did you remember to subscribe so Wayne Gretzky Ice Hockey?
So let's pretend all that wasn't true. And it is.
Right, all of that is like, I should be able to, right now, just stop and say, do you get it? Do you get that this is unworkable? I should be able to just stop right now and say, this whole thing that you want to do with blockchain gaming, it has been bullshit from the beginning, it is bullshit now, and it will be bullshit 2 years from now. It is a mountain of bullshit that goes all the way to the bottom, right? And what blows my mind, what I cannot understand, is there are people with MBAs, there are venture capital companies, there are people who understand how economics work, that somehow think that this makes sense and is an investable opportunity. It's as though we said to you, you're going to go to McDonald's, and every time you go to McDonald's and eat a burger, you're going to get burger points. And every time you get those burger points from McDonald's, you can add them all up, and at some point, you can just come to McDonald's and say, I'm done paying for burgers. I paid for 2 years for my burgers, I'm all done paying for burgers, now you just got to give me free burgers because I got enough burger points. Not only that, I can take my burger points because I earned them here, I built value, even though what I was actually doing was consuming entertainment. I've built value through my bullshit burger points, and so now I can take my bullshit burger points over to Wendy's or Taco Bell or Burger King, and I can say to them, I already paid. I paid over at McDonald's, I paid for 2 years of burgers. It's not fair to ask me to pay for burgers here at Burger King, despite the fact that you've never given Burger King a dime. Heck, not only can I get my free burgers at Burger King, I can go down to the auto parts store, get a brand new clutch for my Subaru, because it's all supposed to be interchangeable and obfuscated. So how the hell does AutoZone pay for its Subaru parts? Where does that money come from? And anybody with 10 seconds of sense knows that this is all bullshit. But we still talk about it like it's something real. We have conventions called blockchain conventions. We have blockchain.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
We made horse. It's in the game.